Right now I got a situation with a neighbor. A neighbor who is loud, always screaming, going on and on. It got to the point in which I behaved like everyone else. You know, I don't really consider what I did as wrong, but I acted like everyone else. I acted in the way of the world. I got mad and I yelled, "Shut up, shut up. Can you please just shut up? Why are you always screaming?" Come on, we're living in a world where decency doesn't really amount for much, unfortunately. Well, they seem hell-bent on wanting to fight till the end of time. You know, I'm a Christian. That's not really how I want to be. Like, I know they want me to hate them the way they hate me. And I have to love them and treat them decently when it's the last thing they deserve. It's the last thing they deserve, and I have to do that. Boom. What's happening? Thought I'd come hang out with my squirrel buddies, hang out with my little squirrel buddies, and drop a quick video. Rip a quick video, rather. You know, I've been kind of reflecting a little bit on my life and enjoying my life. But in this reflection, I noticed that while I'm not a victim, and I'm not going to cry and whine about things, and I do notice that a lot of times in my life, it was like disproportionately bad people to good people. Pretty disproportionate. A lot of, thankfully nothing too negative or too heady. I don't consider myself having any ongoing beef with anybody. But when I look at it, it's always a lot of control. A lot of control-dominated people. Domineering, antagonistic, overbearing. The whole wackadoo. The whole enchilada, so to speak. Right now I got a situation with a neighbor. Now, if you take my word for it, I'm the one in the right. If you take my word for it. Simply put, a neighbor who is loud, always screaming, going on and on, arguing with whoever she lives with. It eventually got to a point after several years where I was like, you know what? I kind of acted like the way of the world. It got to the point in which I behaved like everyone else. You know, I don't really consider what I did as wrong, but I acted like everyone else. I acted in the way of the world. After several years of this person screaming and crying and whining and wailing and going on and on, after several years of it as their neighbor, instead of going to speak to them, which is like the decent thing to do, but come on, we're living in a world where decency doesn't really amount for much, unfortunately. Like the decent thing to have done would to be go and speak to them, bring the issue to them and be like, hey, this is the issue, knock, 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 I'm your neighbor, let's talk about this, this is the issue. You're loud, you're screaming, you're like unhinged. Like, must you do this? Can we please get to some kind of agreement? That would have been the decent thing to do. I chose to do what everybody else does in this world. I got mad and I yelled, shut up, shut up. Can you please just shut up? Why are you always screaming? I finally said that to her after like about 3 years of this nonsense. You know, I'm a Christian. That's not really how I want to be, but I don't really blame myself for it. Mistakes happen, and I was acting with blunt truth. I gave them the blunt truth. 9 times out of 10 as well, when you speak to people, if you go and you tell people like, hey, look, this is my concern, this is my issue, this is what's happening, they're just going to look at you, nod their head, and continue with however they want to behave. Kindness taken for weakness. 9 times out of 10, kindness is taken for weakness. And I've had that situation before with neighbors when I've had problems and I've tried speaking to them, and that's exactly what they do. They just nod their head and they go, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. And they continue with their behavior. 9 times out of 10. They don't care. That's the world, 9 times out of 10. So I'm not going to beat myself up and blame myself. I acted in a way that I normally don't choose to behave, but I acted in a way in which the world would consider normal. I don't consider the way I behave normal, but in that situation, I behaved in what the world would consider normal. I yelled. I lost my temper. I finally gave them back what they were giving me. To me, that's not normal, but that's how the world sees it. It's a dog-eat-dog world, right? Most people would be like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you scream at your neighbor? I mean, they're being loud and obnoxious. Why not yell back at them? It's not really how I want to be. But that's what I did. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Well, they seem hell-bent on wanting to fight till the end of time. Want a peanut, buddy? Baby, want a peanut? Camera shy, I guess. Oh, fuck. Talk about camera shy. Holy smokes. Fishing for squirrels. Not as easy as it looks. They were wrong, and instead of accepting that they were wrong, they've been continuing on this like banging and screaming and yelling and continuing on the fight. It's been like almost 3 months now. This was the end of January. This began. Today is April 24th. So we've been going on at this for about 3 months now, pretty close to 3 months. This arguing back and forth. Banging, stomping, the whole thing. Very stupid, very childish. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it today because it's like, I kind of knew that there would be some fallout. I figured, okay, they're mad. They want to blow off some steam. Let them have the last word. Let them stomp and bang and get it out of their system and prove their point to me. Go ahead, prove your point to me. You know how people always need to have the final word, the final say? I'm in control. So I was like, all right, let them have their final word. Let them have their final say. Let them bang and stomp and yell and rail. I let them do that. They did that for 1 day. They did that for 2 days. They did that for 3 days. They did it for a week. They were white hot with anger for a full week. Finally, I decided to, kind of put my foot down and bang back and yell back. And then they would bang and yell back. So I'm just like looking at this like, so what, we're just going to be banging and clapping and yelling and ranting and raving at each other? Pretty stupid, pretty childish. And on the merry-go-round went for the last 3 months now. Pretty close to 3 months. And I really tried to put my foot down, hammer the point across, but they would come back with the same nonsense. They bang, I bang, stupid, childish. What's the point of it? This morning I was thinking about it because they were doing it right at the crack of dawn. They're at it. They're at it, banging and trying to get my attention, trying to put their control on me, trying to put their self-importance over me. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, what do they even want? Like the normal person would, yes, okay, they want to show that they're in control, make themselves assertive. They did that. They had the final word. I stopped. I backed off. You think that a normal person, once they made their point, would stop. They didn't stop. And I'm thinking to myself, what do they want? And then it hit me. I'm like, oh, they want me to hate them the way they hate me. They want to steal my peace. They want to be energy vampires. They want to simply get me to hate them the way they hate me. To interfere with my inner peace. Like, that's pretty demented. Because I don't even hate them, right? It's like, all I wanted was the common sense solution. Like, they go their way, I go my way. There ain't nothing to gain out of fighting and arguing with a neighbor. It's stupid, right? And then it dawned on me that, wow, it's like, to go back to how I said, much of my life I noticed that it was disproportionate. The good people versus the bad people. There was always more bad people. Every time you turn around, there was always somebody with some drama, some anger issue, something they want to put upon you. Kind of disproportionate. One thing I'm sort of excited about, even though it is somewhat of a burden, but being a Christian, one thing I'm excited about is I have to, it's more than do unto others as you'll have done unto you. It's more than that. It's like you actually have to give people what they're not willing to give you. If you find that, if you can believe that, it's like I know they want me to hate them the way they hate me. And I have to love them and treat them decently when it's the last thing they deserve. It's the last thing they deserve, and I have to do that. The trap is set. We'll see if they take the bait. Another satisfied customer. They're not going to understand any other way. They're not going to understand. Like, you can understand an argument. You've had arguments. When somebody relents and gives you peace and gives you everything you want, and yet they still continue to argue, what does that say? Totally demented. So I have to give them what they're not willing to give. And that's one thing I'm noticing in my life is that I'm going to have to do. It's kind of exciting, but it's also, well, I'm going to choose to just keep it as exciting because it's like an elevated way of life, an elevated way of being. It's exciting because it's like they had me really out of character. They had me really out of pocket. Like the last couple, like not the full way through, but at points I was really out of pocket, really off character, not really liking what was happening. You know, I'd go about my day and I'm having kind of nice interactions with people, and then I'd come home and I'm getting all this crap, and it's like I was just feeling really out of character, out of pocket. I kind of clicked onto the answer that the thing to do is, and not in some stupid phony way, like, oh, I'm going to love them and treat them in a good way that I want to be treated because I'm a Christian. Like, not in some phony cornball way. I'm going to shake the dust off my feet. I want nothing to do with them, but I wish them well. And I'm not going to try to interfere with them. And I'm going to treat them with the decency that they don't seem to want to treat me with. And I'm not going to let them lower me into hating them. Like, these people are demented. They're miserable. They're in hell. They're in their own personal hell. And they want to bring me down into some angry place and continue an ongoing fight that doesn't need to be fought. It's just stupid, emotional garbage. And it's like, I'm not going to participate in it. And I'm going to give them the decency that they're not willing to give me. And the crazy thing about the whole thing is, I was right to begin with. They imposed upon me. They mistreated me. I spoke up for myself, and then they unleashed their full hell. That's when their full hell came out. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like, whoa, right? Demented. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting if you're kind of on your walk and you're on your spiritual life and you believe in God, you believe in Christ. And if you just believe in decency in a imperfect world, it's kind of exciting because it's like, it's an elevated level because I've already believed in and exhibited those traits. Do unto others as you want done unto you. But it's much deeper than that, and it goes pretty deep. So we'll see what I can do. I'm just gonna go with that piece. It's pretty exciting as a Christian, and just as somebody who's looking out for humanity and wanting to get along in this world with people. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.